What is up, good people? Give it a minute for people to log on. Hang out for a little bit. Hope everybody is well. Little dual action on the tube and on the talk. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody is well. All right, let's see if I can multitask some comments. If you can hear me, let me know so I can make sure that that's all working. Outside of that, yeah, hang out for a little bit. Class on Wednesday night, talking little claims, answering some questions, and yeah. So someone got their BDD course, so excited for that we have up. So what's up, y'all? Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hang out here for a little bit as I get my last steps in for the night and go from there. What is up, good people? Let me connect it is. What's up, YouTube? What is up, TikTok? What are you guys up to? How goes it? Multitasking a little bit here, so haven't done this in a while. So we're gonna do it now. What's going on, Paisa? Just talking claims, knocking out some steps here. So just Q&A. When I do lives, just really Q&A. I don't necessarily have a topic per se, just because can the person serve 4 years in the military and get 100% of that possible? Yeah, as long as you're eligible and you have your status, definitely 4 years, 2 years, 3 years. You get injured, you know what I'm saying, or friggin' jump off, on the beaches of Normandy, lay down your life. You know, your service is not discredited because you're only in it for a year and a half. So there's many variables to that, but many people have injuries that they've incurred in 4 years. Some people do 20 years, have no injuries. Time is not a variable. It's like being on a job, being a police officer. Doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna see something or be exposed to something. So different times, different services. You have some folks who served and they were, not exposed to stuff, right? People who served in the Vietnam era doesn't mean they were exposed to things. So, but yeah. But let me know where you're tuning in from. If you served, let me know your branch of service. Hanging out for a bit, answer some questions. Admin notes. We got class Wednesday night. I was gonna say Saturday night. Wednesday night we're having class. Ace Your CMP. The link for that is on my page. If you're interested to come on down, we're talking CMPs, what they are, what to expect, what to do for bad CMPs, pros and cons and things like that. So that'll be a live class. And in that class, it's in Zoom, so it won't be live, it won't be on social media. I can't talk about some of the things that I cover in class because community guidelines, we're talking disabilities, we're talking medication, we're talking, illnesses and things, not wanting to be around, things that are pretty graphic. So that's a big one that doesn't work here on social. Plus, this Wednesday is Ace Your CMP. Next Wednesday is navigating VA claims. Next Wednesday is CMP, then navigating claims. So I alternate them. So 1 week is CMP class, 1 week it's navigating claims. What's going on, Jody? Good to be seen. I always mess this saying up, but it's good to be seen. Better to be seen than to be viewed. So that's why we gotta stay on it. So how to link PTSD due to events outside or not related to the military but aggravated in the military. Give me an example. What are you talking about specifically? Because some things can happen off duty that do a thing, but like where is the nexus of the thing? Because we have to be able to connect an argument back to service. Thank you. 100%. But trying to post all these things, all these different places. It's like the full-time job is doing all that. But yeah, trying to stay alive. That's the example you need. Well, tell me what your situation is, and I'll be able to give you an answer. So that's kind of how this works. I need feedback from you. I can't just randomly make up a scenario like, what are you trying to argue? And I'll tell you if that makes sense. Just got denied some claims I didn't even get evaluated on. So sometimes that happens where you may file for a thing and they may not, have an argument there or see the connection there, so they won't call for that, like a PTSD thing, that you apply for it, certain things may be missing. So there's some variables in there as to what that may be. But what did you file specifically? That'd be a better question to be able to give you more context. And also sometimes someone has got denied for something before and they have filed for it again, but the way they file for it is actually, incorrect. Instead of an appeal, they just file as a brand new thing that causes issues, which in turn, gets the claim pushed back. So it's not rejected per se, but more so, a thing. Let's see, some comments in this live were filtered to protect community guidelines. Be careful with what you type. Any specific medication, things like that, the algorithm doesn't like that. So again, here you have examples where I get like notifications that things get removed. So I'm answering things as they come. However, I don't necessarily have the ability to see what you type if it's literally scrubbed. So just an FYI. Yeah, I'm down about 50, well, not 60 pounds, that's it. So yeah, post a little bit of that here and there. I always get real weird about posting certain things because I also know that the majority of like the social is about claims. So I'll sprinkle in some stuff that I'm doing here and there, but yeah, staying alive, trying to stay alive. So they say like you lose 5 pounds, nobody notices. You lose 10 pounds, 20, people start asking. 30, people are definitely talking. 40, people start asking a lot. 50 or more, you can't get away from it. It's like everywhere. So that's always kind of interesting. How that will happen because, and especially for me because the fact that I'm out there on social media. So like you literally can see changes. You go back a certain amount of time. Well, 100%, but more so for me, it was because of my medical conditions and stuff. So I reversed my diabetes, got out of diabetic and pre-diabetic to not diabetic, and a bunch of other things there as well. So not so much an aesthetic thing, but more so like, I was getting tired of having to get, MRIs and different things checked for my, medical conditions and things like that. So it's just like, oh, wait a second, look, I'm trying to stick around. So that had to become a priority. So I believe I have an ability to do something. So we're doing that thing, but the goal also is to stick around and live, right? And sadly, despite what people may see, like we're dealing with stuff at times that people just never know, right? So staying alive, that's the goal for sure. I was in when me and my president vote for. So for that's something to probably take offline. So in that situation, something happened. You had an incident where that took place off duty after service. But how are you arguing it back to service, right? Like something traumatic happened after service, but you're trying to tie it back to service now. Like what in service can you tie it to that may have been minor or not a big thing, and then was re-triggered after service, right? So we have to go back to service first and show how we can kind of draw that line. This was before service. So before service that happened, so then what happened during service? That's the second question. Let me jump on this side. Yes, I'm on TikTok on this side, he's on that side, so I'm kind of jumping back and forth. Do mental health claims affect your ability to get different high-level jobs on the outside? No, you have the ADA that protects you. They can't discriminate against you because you have hemorrhoids. They can't discriminate against you because you have sciatica or a service dog. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, there are jobs that have certain requirements that you just may not be able to do because of your disabilities, regardless of what they are. Right? You got some bad knees and you got, whatever. You might not be able to pass a physical, test for like a police officer job or a firefighter job. Your lungs might be shot. Guess what? You're not going to be running up and down, you know, any building doing something that is that physically intensive, right? If you're just jumping in, we're talking claims, answering questions about VA claims. I'm DP, founder of VNCC, to reset the room. I gotta keep saying that to remind myself. This Wednesday, I'm doing Ace Your CMP class. It's a class I teach about CMPs and how to ace it. Specifically, what is a CMP? What are they? Things to expect, tips, things like that, and then a Q&A. So those are some things that are going on this week, Wednesday. That's not on social, that's in Zoom. Heads up on that. But no, they don't prevent you from getting a thing. You still have to meet the requirements. Now, if your conditions preclude you from that, that's just because of the job requirements. Any idea how much percentage anxiety and depression can give? From 0 to 70 is a rating criteria, so it depends on your symptoms. It's all based on your symptoms. Every 10 pounds, size down, yep. Yeah, so yes and no. So yes and no, Joe. The only thing I would probably caution on that. So I agree, right? For HIPAA for sure. However, there are instances, and again, coming from the federal side where I retired in law enforcement, they specifically ask if you have a VA rating. So beyond the HIPAA thing, the part that will get a lot of law enforcement people is if it comes out in some whatever way that there is a rating, regardless of what it is, and you were not, integrity wasn't a thing, because they do ask for these things. Again, the nature of your disabilities, like that stuff you're not gonna be listing out. No, you don't have to. But if you have a rating, and for example, Homeland Security says, hey, do you have a rating, yes or no? If you don't have, when it comes out you do down the road or whatever, now, from a law enforcement perspective, they can jam you up with Giglio, which is a case where your integrity is questioned. Once your integrity is questioned, we have a problem now, because that's the cornerstone of law enforcement, right? You can't build a case on someone if your integrity is in violation, right? Regardless of city, local PD crap that happens, we've seen in the news, right? So I've seen that happen many times too. So yes to the HIPAA, not a thing where I'm sitting there giving you my whole breakdown, none of your beeswax. Now there are instances where, let's say if you are diabetic, we had a guy, I'm a retired federal air marshal. We had a guy who was diabetic, he was sidelined because that whole thing had to be under control and he had to be medically cleared, right? So that was not even a HIPAA thing, that was outright he had diabetes, and that came up in our annual physical examinations. You know what I'm saying? So there's different issues, different things there. But no, you're not necessarily just, saying something that disqualifies you. Air traffic control, that window, mental health ratings, they're real stringent on that, and that's a whole nother beast. So unless you're going for that job, I won't even bother going into that rabbit hole, because we do have some ATC people. Can denied secondary claims be put in secondary to another condition? Yeah, you can argue it so many different ways. You're just making a new argument as to how you're arguing that to another thing. Maybe you're arguing it stronger going this way versus that way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like for the law enforcement job, that's the only part that's different. But I agree though, even then, they're not saying, like, give me all your issues you have. There are things that are big because of the job or what it requires of you. So if you have to be in a place and you don't have access to certain medication, you know what I'm saying? So it's more like a risk liability thing that they look like. But the not being up front, because I know people have got jammed up just on asking them, hey, do you have a rating? And they say no. Then down the road they do, and then it's like, oh, because they know you're a veteran. Obviously, everybody discloses that in the government to get that preference and all that shit. But yeah. Check on before service. What if I want a job that requires top secret clearance? No, it doesn't matter. I had a top secret clearance and I had my ratings. So, yeah. What's a senior review? They apparently did my decision today. How a review? Internal processes on their side, nothing for you to really get worried about. So they have their, they have their whole thing where they propose their stuff. they go through the process, things get reviewed, it goes to post to be reviewed, you know, for certain things, reviews. It's like the process that they do in the rating criteria, not something necessarily that you need to be too worried about. And if they need something, maybe if something is identified, they can push it back, they can look for more information, details, etc., as needed. So it really depends. Do you accept DMs or just sign up for classes? So check my link. There's a variety of different things there. That's all I can tell you. If you check my link, I do my DMs. You'll be waiting for a little bit, so I'm not even gonna sit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like just, you know what I mean? Like all the my notifications never stop. So I work through my DMs, but it takes some time. You know, you figure if I got like 50 to 100 DMs in a day, you know what I mean? A conversation is how long? That's not, you know, my job. So I will get back to those. It just takes some time just to manage expectations. The best way, lives like this, ask your question, you got my attention. Posts that I post, I try to respond to pretty much a good majority of comments. Sometimes, obviously, that's more than I can handle, because on here on social, if there's a response from me, it's just me, right? So I answer all my stuff and things like that. But come down to class, check us out. You can have a call with one of my advisors. Links are in my page for all that stuff, so you can kind of get an idea of the different things that we do. I've opened up my schedule to do some one-on-one calls that people have asked for, but that's, again, for a unique situation if that applies. So check it out. There's a variety of different options there, so you can kind of get a feel for what makes sense for you, right? But a call with one of my advisors, those are free calls, assessment calls, and just kind of giving you an idea of kind of what you have. If there's a way forward, they'll give you options, things that we do. CMP class on Wednesday night, that is a straightforward CMP class on how to get ready for it, and they're one-offs. So I like options. How likely is it to be granted when there are nerves compromised in the spine? What compromise the nerves in the spine? Again, if it's something service connected, that might be an argument, right? If we're talking about an injury that caused the, you know, compromised things, that might be an argument. But again, that's what they have to look at too, right? If there's something that's outside of the scope of service and that's what's causing it, then issues. Not disappointed working with the crew. Let them know, Jody, let them know. Agreed. Sciatica herniated. Yeah, but what herniated disc is I guess my question. Can you tie it back to service? If not, and you just have outright herniated disc, where did that come from? Because they're looking at how to basically make your argument null and void. So it would help if you can kind of, you know, draw that picture of how you want to conduct that. Shout out to Jody and the crew there. And they actually, I keep forgetting to do this. So every time that this actually pops up, boop, there you go. So if you see little moderators, those are folks. Those are folks on the crew, people who, you know, we know who are close to us, etc. So shout out to Jody. She's a great writer. Check her stuff out. She does amazing things there as well. And Naomi on my crew as well in the chat. So sick of the VA. They're trying to reduce my migraines and adjustment disorder to 30 from 50. They didn't use the new files from my CMP. How can I fight this? They proposed something. You can push back. There's a process for that for sure. They have CMP exam 10.6. They made a decision 10.2. Hit 90%. Shout out to you. Do you think any veteran groups would sponsor my play coming to your city? Maybe. It depends, I guess, where that's happening. That might be something to explore for sure. So yeah, I think that'd be something for sure that might be worth, exploring. I think also getting more veterans around and kind of, you know, broadcasting it, etc. Let's see, agreed with Nieli on the HLR side of the house. So yeah, I think doing a high level review, because they can propose something may have been missed. Something obviously was, you know, not the way it should have been, and they're proposing that. So there's recourse. We've worked with vets that have had their ratings outright reduced. You know, like 100% was not PNT. They took her back down to 80, 90, whatever it was at the time, and then fought to get it back. So there's different ways to argue this, but in this case here, for sure, an HLR would be the first step, right? A high-level review. That doesn't play out, then potentially looking at other avenues like supplemental. All right. For sure, for sure. Let us chat. Got a lot of talking to do. We have a lot of good stuff potentially on the road, so we are talking and dealing and wheeling and trying new things and new faces, new projects, which is the cat's pajamas. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. Hi, sir. I have. Don't sir me. That's an army of me, so please don't take that the wrong way. Let's see. Haven't claimed VA yet. Been 10 months, but can I still file a claim? 10 months since what? Since you got out? It's not. If it's 10 months since you left service, it's not been too long. You know, you could literally get that rolling. Open an intent to file would be the first thing I would advise you to do. Go on va.gov and just say, hey, you know, I'm gonna start a claim. It'll give you a number saying you're starting the process, and then from there you can log out and you have a year to finish it. So start an intent to file, and then from there, you know, start looking at how we're gonna follow these things, right? How are you gonna get help? What are you doing? I'd encourage you, if you have no clue what's going on, go to my link in my page and look at navigating VA claims. That's a class I'm teaching the following Wednesday, not this Wednesday, the following Wednesday. And that following Wednesday, it's navigating VA claims. And I kind of go over the basics of claims at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I teach a class in Zoom, not on social. And that's kind of like the basics of things that we do. So something that you could definitely, you know, you're invited to if you are able to make it for that. And then I'll have a Q&A too. So every class I teach is always material for like 50 minutes and then Q&A after. And I have some of my crew with me too, so we kind of round robin questions. And I think it's also good because perspective. The link on my page has the sign up for it. So we go to my page, you'll see it has the link there to sign up for navigating VA claims. And you can sign up and it will send you the confirmation stuff and you're good to go. So put on your calendar, it'll send reminders, all that good stuff there. And it'll give you the link to Zoom. My crew's there, Nieli's there, and a few other on my team. So I like it too because, you know, I have no ego when it comes to this, in a sense that I'm saying something, but maybe Nieli may say something that kind of clicks, right? Or in this case, Jody asked the question and says something to the effect of, what you waiting for? You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's what kind of gets you going, right? Like I may not say it like that, only because, you know, I'm kind of, you know, juggling all these different things, but also understand that the team can say things that maybe I can't get away with, right? Because tone and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's crazy. Like even saying like this, like I've been told, because I'm part of this little creator thing, whatever. And if you say link in bio, they don't like that. So the AI picks up on that and it detects that you're trying to move people off platform and it frowns upon it. But if the crew says it, fair game, right? So you gotta, you know, we gotta make lemonade, is what I would say. Ghost member, in the shadow like a ninja. Jody is the ninja. When's your next, where do you think about taking your next play to? Let's see, on the 2, Paisa, what else you got for the sciatica situation? Like what caused that? Where'd that come from? Is that just life or a what? But yeah, those are some things that we have going on. If you know someone who is active duty, leaving active duty, check out the Lima India November Kilo on my page. And getting out next year. Wow, you think I was psychic before you even saw it. Getting out next year after 9.5 years. You then, DJ. But active duty folks, check out the Navigating BDD Claims. It literally is on my page, my bio thing. It's online course. You can take it on your own. I like it because here's the reality, DJ. You're not gonna know much about stuff, and most veterans don't. Like this is not, VA claims is easy in the sense that you go up to va.gov and you just say, I'm filing claim, you name what it is, and you submit. That's it. Now the process and understanding how to do something, different conversation. That's not easy. The process is complex. The filing is easy. So I like the fact that we have this online on-demand course that we recorded. So it has like videos. I'm teaching it. It's, you know, it's all there. There's resources, materials, all these different things that you have, but it's broken down in modules. So you have the ability to kind of go through this in time, right? So like right now, I could start talking and lose everybody in this conversation, getting really into the weeds and geeking out on claim stuff. The thing here is not to try to sound smart about claims. The thing here is to help a veteran understand what they need to do to be successful. That's really what this is all about. That's why the class is like, you know, navigating VA claims, right? Or navigating your BDE claims for the online course for transitioning service members, or acing your CMP. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be able to do something. It's a you conversation, not a me conversation. So the fact that you now, for example, are leaving service, you know, in X amount of time next year, it gives you time, right? Because in that course, there's a checklist too. And that checklist, the BDD checklist, which you'll see on my page too, it gives you a plan to start doing things and start working at records, doctors, things to do, to start planning. And you can go to the course and really just take it in sections of like, okay, these are the things I need to work on right now. Because, you know, information overload is like, oh, wow, this is all amazing, but what do I do right now? And when you're leaving service, you got to kind of keep it by the numbers, right? What am I doing right now? What is my first step? First step is start to get seen, right? Start that process of thinking of this, get the checklist. So you have a checklist, that's why we call it a checklist, and to get the course, because it gives the ability to be able to go through it at your pace and pick up things, go back, rewind, etc. So that's what I would say for sure. It's something that I would recommend for anybody who is transitioning service. It gives, you know, that transitioning service member time to work on these things. So, some things to consider. Producing in Philly March, mark your calendars. Okay, yeah, let me know. I'd love to come down for that. We got a whole lot of traveling going on, so plan for that. I know January, I got Colorado coming up, so we're doing our team meeting for that and kind of planning for next year. So next year we'll start planning for the next year kind of kickoff in January. So that's for my crew. We'll get together, try at least do like one a year, you know, meet up with the team. Because my organization is virtual, so I have folks everywhere like Nelly. And, you know, I mean, we got people in Texas, we got people in Colorado, we got people in Oklahoma, we got people in, you know, all over the place. So it's good to kind of get together and do that kind of stuff there. No, not so much early. Actually, so let me work it down to that real quick. So just to make sure. So, but yeah, Philly good. I'm interested to see if I can make it down to that. Certainly going back to ATL, most likely North Carolina. Let me know about North Carolina. If you're doing something in North Carolina, I'd love to, and you probably saw my video I put up with Jerry. But if it's in North Carolina, if anywhere it's at, I'd love to coordinate, because actually Dennis, ROG, and Jerry are both in North Carolina. So if something's happening there, I'd love to take them to that. More so Jerry. But because Jerry, you know, needs a little more accommodation, whereas Dennis is mobile, can travel. Two of our Vietnam veterans. So possible to file disability that was caused by surgery under VA care. Yep, 1151. Concur with Nayeli. I think that's definitely something, KS, that doesn't happen all too often, but it is a VA claim, and that's called an 1151, which is what you described. I believe I came across someone talking about getting their BDD claim early. So the BDD claim in itself is something that's going to be early by definition. It's a benefit delivery at discharge. So when you discharge, you should get your benefits. That's the way it's supposed to work. Before that, it won't happen, right? If you're med boarding, they may propose things before then, but usually it's all at that separation period. But you definitely get your ratings much faster than someone who just files, regular, after after service type of thing, right? Because you're doing it as you're transitioning. Nice indeed. Nerve damage was caused. Just secondary. Yeah. Agreed with Neely's point there. KS. Uh-huh. Let's see. Yes, my play was accepted into the International Black Theater Fest this summer. They told me, okay, now, okay, we're making some history. Now I definitely want to come down. I need to be there, get that, that Jane Hancock. Let them know I was down there before it kicked off and went prime time. So I definitely, well, congratulations to you, man. Everybody congratulate Jody. She writes plays. She's in the chat. She does some pretty cool things. For service members, her being a service member as well. And I think it's dope that you have one of our owns that can use her gift to write and tell stories of different sensitive topics in a way using theater and so forth. So yeah, give her a follow, check her stuff out. She is amazing at what she does. And as you see, her play was accepted into the International Black Festival this summer. So mark your calendars. Philly, North Carolina might be on the way to go. And that's the biggest thing. It's our story. So it's not just hyperbole. These are like when I teach my classes and I talk about things, I'm always talking about our veterans, right? We just had a veteran actually who reached out. I got to do a story on this too, and I'll record it later, but reached out for a call type of stuff. And it appears at face value that a simple phone call of being able to dissect what's going on. I talked to him, and it took not even 10 minutes. And when he's, telling me his stuff, I'm starting asking questions to find out what he's got going on. Bottom line, he may have been underpaid for about 12 years. I was gonna say 10. Yeah, I just switched that there. 12 years. For 12 years, it seems he may have been underpaid in SMC. Potentially, if that's exactly what I did play out, and now we begin to pursue that off that one conversation. We do some digging and all that good stuff. We do what we do. It's amazing that now the person in turn may potentially have 12 years of back pay, north of 50 grand, because you just didn't know what you didn't know, and no one actually took time to ask a question or sit down and talk to you. You literally can't make it up. But these are our stories, right? Like, how would you know a thing? Or more things like MST or assaults, etc., losses, PTSD, things like that. Those stories are our people's story. So we use our stories in different ways. I use it as I teach classes and do what I do. That's why I don't teach classes on social media, because I get very into the weeds into some of these stories and community guidelines, right? So piggybacking off of Plant Girl, aka Jody's point on our stories being told in place. Yeah, it usually tends to be. It doesn't really improve, Arctic. When it comes to tinnitus, it doesn't necessarily improve per se once you kind of have it. You're very welcome. Try here online, but I guess they stopped that. Okay. But again, for those tuning in, a lot of good questions, a lot of good answers. But let me know what branch of service you were in and when did you serve. It helps the algorithm to show interaction and things like that. So let me know, because I always like to know where our people are at. So that's a big one for me. Thank you for what you've done for me. Still waiting for results, but you pushed me to fight. Oh man, that's awesome. I can't take a screenshot of that one, but grab that one, Ellie. That's awesome. And like little things like that are the things that people, it's what it's all about. However, what we have done has helped you, right, to fight. That's the thing. Like sometimes you just need that in different ways. So please do keep me posted on that and how that kind of goes. I'd be curious to know, what was helpful for you specifically, right? Was it content? Was it videos? Was it a class you took? I asked because the more I know what helped you, it helps me, you know, kind of, zero in on that to make sure somebody else gets more of that good thing too, right? Because as you see, I try all kinds of stuff, right? If it's a meme, if it's a this, the most craziest stuff will be, what gets someone's attention, right? Even if it's me with like a sound clip over, it gets conversation going. And that's what I guess is missing in this space, is having conversation, and getting conversation going. So I'm big on that. So I'm always curious to know these things. Army's in the building, 04 to 24. Man, where did 20 years go, Jen? Where does the time go? I went to boot camp in 89, sweet Lord Jesus. Got Jordan in the building, 8808 DSDS Southern Watch, OIF, OEF. We got Coasties in the building. So one thing I do in class, I always do like a little roll call thing, like a little poll rather, not roll call, poll. And in the poll, I always ask some questions, branch, where are you at in your process, things like that. And it's funny because I always kind of go back around and say something to the effect of which branch showed up in force, right? Like who took it, like the most Army today, or Navy came in with the most attendance. And usually it's like no Space Guardians, maybe one Coastie or no Coasties, right? So Coast Guard's in the building, 83 to 93, Hawk Z for life. Shout out to you. On the tube, we got Colossal. Oh, you tracked the message. I saw your service there. I was going to read it off, but we got Colossal in the building with branch of service that literally I glanced at too quickly. And I'm jumping around. So again, I'm both on the tube and I'm on Teke. So knocking out two birds, one stone as they're coming in. I like to do stuff on the computer and bring stuff up in the background, etc. But it's kind of real funky sometimes going to different places. So figure while I do this, I'll just kind of go live on both. Juggling. Still trying to figure out now. Officially retire 31 October. Same thing for you, Jen. Check out my, well, you've heard, you officially retired. So have you done your stuff already? Did you do the BDD claim process? Where are you with your stuff? I'll get back to you with results, but thank you so much. You're very welcome. Okay. Let's see. All submitted. Wish I found your page sooner. Step 3. Check. So for you specifically, have you had your CMPs already for your stuff, Jen? And that's something I hear a lot. The biggest thing that I've always heard is, wish I would have found you sooner. But the funniest thing was like our older veterans, right? One of my old Vietnam veterans was out for 50 years before he filed the claim. When someone like that tells you that, he's good. He's literally knocked the heck out on the floor right now. I'm looking at him. So he's over there, snoring with little birdies. My service dog legend is taking a nap. But yeah, like, it's funny because I'll just joke around. I'm like, yeah, well, 50 years ago, I wasn't around. So I don't tell you. But we're here now. But you can tell somebody else. That's the biggest thing, right? That's the biggest thing here, especially in our veteran space. It's word of mouth, man. I don't care what anybody says. You could do all this whole ad stuff. Like, I won't spend a penny on no promoting a thing or pushing. Nah, I don't like that. Like, if this makes sense to you, you'll tell somebody because it does make sense. Or it's helped you, you'll tell someone. So I'm big on that. As far as, getting awareness out there. But, if you wish that you would have found it sooner, then help someone else out who can. That's a big one, right? For sure. Let's see. What's up, Rodrigo? In the building, Virgie, Dr. Y. Let's see. I do like that it kind of tells you as folks are coming in. And of course, sometimes they're just kind of scrolling by, which is fine. Javier's in the building, Dara's in the building. Let's see, Caron is in the building. Bad taco meat is in the building. Oh, that's never a good thing. Bad taco meat. Jen's in the building. You never want some bad taco meat. But yeah, let's see what other questions y'all have. I was part of Skill Bridge, and they're always looking for veterans who are helping veterans. Awesome, yeah. And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Like Legion Vets. I think I've heard that name for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. But yep, Wednesday night we are doing Ace Your CMP. So if you have a CMP coming up and you want to come down to a class, I can promise you I'm better live than on social without community guidelines. But yeah, this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, we are talking Ace Your CMP class. What are they? What to expect? Tips, what to do for bad exams, good exams, etc. And then a Q&A will surely follow thereafter. Got a CMP for headaches with the VA. CBOC tomorrow. I have a Migraine 101 video that kind of goes in some detail. You can also look here as well. But the biggest thing for migraines is, and I like to use migraine a lot for examples when I'm talking like CMPs and things like that, or VA claims as a whole. It's frequency intensity, right? So they're rating you or assessing you based off how often do you get these migraines and how intense are they. Frequency and intensity. The words prostrating comes up a lot, having to prostrate to stop what you're doing, to lay down, etc. That's a big one. And then how often do they happen? And if they're causing issues work-wise, economic inadaptability, that's a word in the CFR, aka is it causing you work issues? Are you taking leave? Are you missing out on work, promotions? How is it affecting you work-wise? That's a big one there. So focus on those two things, right? Intensity, frequency. As far as medication, how many doctors you've seen, neurologists, all this other stuff, we're not talking healthcare. We're talking impairment. That's what I would tell you to for sure hit on, both social and occupational. So not only how it affects you work-wise, but also how it affects on the personal side, right? I don't know what the first thing you listed, Carlos, was, but I'm pretty sure on my side it was stripped because it literally, all I see is, or just lists what I got referred for and everything falls under the umbrella of it. So I have no context, Carlos. So type it again, but something you typed scrubbed out that comment. So be careful what you type. These social media guidelines are kind of interesting. You know, you could do a zoom in of your crotch, apparently do deep squats and nobody cares. But you say, you know, some medication stuff and it violates rules, but I digress. Let's see, I want to file for disability, but I have no idea what I can file for. I've been out for a few years. What's a few years? My oldest vet was out for 50 years, and before him, I have a World War II veteran who filed his first claim in 95. So time is a very small variable here. Understanding what you can file for, we have to look at where you're at today. All right, so give me some context. When did you get out? What branch of service? You know, give me the skinny, Mr. I can't see the picture here, so I don't want to say what I'm going to say before I just jack this whole shit up. But I'm going to say, okay, there you go, Mr. Anderson. Just because of the Matrix. But yeah, let me know, Conte. Referred to MEB, 5 days to turn in. Any advice for listing my behavioral health issues? Be honest about what you're dealing with, you know? It's one of those things where like, hey, you're going through that process. You spent the whole time just sucking up and driving on. Now that time is done. Now it's about, hey, here are the things I am dealing with. So list the things you are dealing with, that you've been referred for, you know, conditions, all that stuff, right? The main things that are obviously leading to the MEB process. And as far as it won't necessarily fall under your umbrella because there's different things you can have. You can be separated for, let's say, a back condition, but in that whole process, you do have a valid argument for a knee condition, migraines, PTSD, you know, IBS, GERD, and what have you. So, but yeah, you know, let them have it. Does that make sense for you, Colossal? Also, what branch of service were you in, Colossal? Because it shows message retracted on my side. 12 2018 Army. Oh, you're fine. That's not a lot. That's not a long time. On average, you got folks that have been out for like 20 years sometimes or more. So it really varies in so many different ways. What's OIPP? Is that branch specific? Just to make sure, all this cool lingo and stuff, I'm not assuming. Do da 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 da. It's the scat man. Oh, Classo in the building, Navy. Let's see, 89 and 92. Salute, San Diego. We got some Navy folks in the building. Got some Coasties in the building. Army folks are here. Air Forces are here. Where are the Marines? I don't expect any Space Guardians, but where are the Marines? That's the question. We got every branch checked off. Outpatient interdisciplinary pain programs. Yeah, so that can be added for different things for sure, because of the fact that, again, what are we dealing with, right? What is that chronic pain of a thing, etc. So valid. I think all those things add, but you still want to have a diagnosis for sure, right? So things like that, I always look at it like kind of like seasoning, right? Where like that's like it adds flavor and a picture to the thing, because you and I have, I'm gonna make it up now, right? A back condition. Your stuff is so jacked that you have to do the whole OIPP thing, whereas I just have back pain, right? The fact that you have to go and do all that for pain, you know what I'm saying, adds context. So for sure it adds, but we both have to have, first and foremost, a diagnosis. Without the diagnosis, all that sprinkle, it's like trying to put, seasoning on an empty pan. It don't work. It don't work. You got to put the main ingredients in there first, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Does that make sense for you, Colossal, as far as the migraine is concerned? Are you ready for migraines at all? How can I get help from you to get started? The link in my page is the first thing I would say. Set up to have a call with one of my advisors would be the first thing that I would advise. Next Wednesday, I'm doing navigating VA claims. This Wednesday, I'm doing Your CMP. But yeah, go to the Lincoln page there, and you can request a call with one of my advisors, my team, and that'd be the first step to kind of get some perspective. So look around, some cool stuff there. So see what fancies you. See, I had a TBI 2018 in the build. Okay, Army check, got it. TBI, CMP, undocumented claims of concussion. Examiner, it says it was very likely TBI. Okay, had a TBI, CMP, undocumented concussion symptoms. Question. Okay, so what's the question? CMP examiner can provide diagnosis for undocumented claims. They can render a diagnosis. A TBI is a little more complicated than that because there's a range of things that may have to happen. But they do have the ability to say, well, wait a second, you have this condition, what have you, right? So, something to consider. CMP exam, March 24, check. Got a letter in May saying contention was put on the wrong form, resubmitted, and now I'm going through the testing again. Do you have any idea why? Just because the process of how it goes, sometimes it's an administrative thing, and depending on time frames, etc. So I would show up and just knock it out. Did you already have a CMP though? For that, you just had a CMP exam back in March. You can reach out and say, hey, but then again, sometimes they just outright lose things too. So the part sometimes doesn't get told to you, Colossal, is that there are instances where they just don't get things. Things were put on the wrong form. Again, who's wrong form? So in their case, if they did it wrong, they have to do it again. And that just sucks because basically it reads to me like the examiner did the wrong form. So guess what? Gotta do it again. Sucks, but this is part of the issues that are happening too. What's up, Richard? Said not to list anxiety, depression, etc., because it falls under the umbrella of PTSD. Incorrect. There are different things. PTSD specifically is saying, so the question, Carlos, is, NSC said not to list anxiety, depression, etc., because it falls under the umbrella. So no, I wouldn't look at it that way, because I can argue a traumatic event happened that caused PTSD, but but I also do have anxiety, depression because of other things I'm dealing with. So I'm making these different arguments. The VA will not rate you for different mental health conditions, but they in turn will say, hey, you have different things, but we're going to lump it together, right, and give you one mental health rating, which is fine. But let's say for argument's sake, your PTSD argument doesn't cut it for whatever reason. I'm just saying. And in turn now, they say, but your anxiety argument makes sense. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, and again, I'm without context, because I have to be careful with things I say because people take things out of context. But think of it like you're increasing your odds of your argument. If I have 3 valid arguments to make for PTSD, anxiety, and depression, I'm going to present those 3. Let the VA decide. But I'm not going to shortchange myself and just say one thing, because ultimately you'll only have one rating. They will, rate PTSD with anxiety, depression, but you're letting them decide that, right? So that's a little bit of a kind of like the art of a thing. Like, do you want one chance, one throw, or you want 3 throws? You're only going to get one prize, right? 3 balls for the little, carnival thing is better than 1 ball to throw. The other night, hearing loss for not having an entered exam, but I have documents from back in the day. It helps. Then HLR for migraines and won the case. That's what's up, OG. PTSD is what I was referred to the MEB and my shoulder. So 2 things. I got a list of everything. Granted, yes, it's fine. But you can also argue the PTSD was one thing, but you can argue also the situation with your shoulder. How does that limit you? Does that cause anxiety, depression, right? These are valid arguments too. Are things you've been exposed to that cause that too. So they're valid is my point, right? But check. Boo, da, 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 da. I'm the Scatman. Should I appeal hearing loss? Because they say, so it's really a conversation of, you can argue it, but really comes back down to also service connection too, as to how they're saying you're connecting this back to, right? So were you exposed to things, et cetera, et cetera. So different ways to kind of look at that for sure. You're welcome, Carlos. But you can use that stuff that you had, but really it's about service connection. So yes, you have hearing loss, but how are we arguing that back to service, right? That's the part that throws the argument off. So 3 things you need to make a valid argument for service connection. You need to have a diagnosis. You need to have an in-service event or stressor, AKA what caused it, what am I pointing to? Excuse me, and a nexus that connects those things. The further out your diagnosis and services, the stronger the nexus needs to be. And nexus doesn't mean a letter, just a connection. How we're arguing. Some people have records. Some people have a variety of evidence to help that. Sometimes people get medical opinions to help these things. Hence, nexus letters and things like that, right? So those things help for sure. But every so often, if you're hanging out for a little bit, just be aware. I'll be constantly kind of doing an old school clubhouse thing back in the day where we're resetting the room because of the way social media is, right? People come and go. But I'm DP. We're talking claims. And Wednesday night, we are doing Your CMP. So if you have a CMP coming up, you are welcome to join us for class on Wednesday night. It happens in Zoom, not on social, because community guidelines, and I can't talk about things of that nature fully here. So it's an hour, it's 50 minutes of class material, and then an hour and plus or so of Q&A. What are CMPs, what to expect, bad CMPs, what to do, things like that. So if the content has been helpful and you find that this might be of benefit to you, a live class is much better than a few minutes worth of a video that you see, just to put in context, and then Q&A, right? And I got my team with me there as well. So that's in the link in my bio page, etc. But that's happening Wednesday. And if you're transitioning, check out our Navigating BDD on-demand course that we recorded and is live for your education and to help you navigate BDD claims. Runs through the whole process, checklist, all the things are in there. So definitely something worth you checking out, or letting someone who's transitioning service to check out for their BDD claim. Let's see, got rated for flat feet at 30. However, all documents submit show 50. Went back for reeval, pending outcome. If they don't grant the 50, will I still stay at 30? Yeah, because basically they're saying, you're arguing I should be at 50. If they say, no, not a 50, you're at 30, then you'll stay at the 30, right? And they'll justify the reason for keeping you at 30 on that, decision letter. Is anxiety under mental health? Yes, it is. Thank you, Carlos. But yes, it is, OG. It is. They said hearing loss occurred while in, but they can't grant because I didn't have docs. So now you have the documentation, so you start to know what to rebut with, would be the appeal. So you're gonna do an appeal. But yeah, anxiety, OCD is in there even, depression, PTSD, other unspecified trauma, etc., etc. So anything mental health related falls in that umbrella. Even eating disorders, but that's a whole different rating. Which I always have a thing with the eating disorder. This is like, geeking out on claims here now, right? But for the eating disorder criteria, that's a whole different mental health, rating criteria. But they don't add overeating, just like the bulimia side of the house and stuff. And arguably, eating disorders goes both ways. Some people, puke into a bucket up until they wither, and some people literally eat themselves to a grave. So, I don't know. Anyways, thank you for the work that you do. Your people do get a lot of information from you guys and videos and shorts. Keep it up. Do got a lot of people, a lot of information. Oh, you're welcome, Fossil. That's what it's all about. I'm making a point to for sure start doing more stuff here. So those people on this side, same username, VeteranDP on the tube. Don't want to say the name too loud because, yeah, I'm gonna start doing some more stuff on, posting more on tube side of the house. And I just find it's better also even for referencing things. Like I have so many videos on TikTok, but it's hard to find things. So here's a hack. Use my username and just search CMP VeteranDP. That's the best way to look at it. Whereas, like, what I'm saying, on the tube is a little more structured that way. So, just a heads up there. But people ask me questions all the time. I literally respond to half my DMs with my own videos, which is the weirdest thing. Because someone asks me something, and I'm just like, there's a video that has covered stuff. CK, love the videos. I appreciate you. I'm glad they're helpful. What has been helpful for you? What for you is like the standout thing that gives you the ability to say thumbs up? Different people have different things they like. Some people just like the slapstick, tongue-in-cheekness of it all. Some people like educational stuff. Some people like this, some people like that. It varies. What is the rating for anxiety? Mental health as a whole goes from 0 to 100. So 10, 30, 50, 70, 100, depending on symptoms, is how that goes. So it's symptom-based. How do I join a class on Wednesday via Zoom? If you go onto my page here, there should be a link on my page, main page, and it has, whatchamacallit, the link for that class, Your CMP. So that's how, that would be the way to go there. Let me see something actually. Oops. That ain't gonna work. Let me see. Let's go to, see if I can actually paste it into copy. Let me see if I can actually paste it in here. Oh, it doesn't let me do that. I thought I could. Remove. No. That's it. On mobile, it's just, it's a chat viewing options, live chat. Yeah, I thought I got the, I always get you know, don't get it. This stuff always, they always do some new things on social. So I was trying to literally pull up the link and show it to you, but the link on my bio has that for Wednesday. Navigating, I mean, Your CMP is this Wednesday. OG, it can range from 0 to 100. 100%. Currently going to the BDD process. Thanks for all you do, Garrett. Have you checked out my BDD course and checklist? If you haven't, you probably should. But glad you're here, Garrett. Thank you for everything you do to help us. You're welcome, PND. You are welcome. It's crazy how GI pays partial months, but DIS doesn't. Man, look, there's a lot of stuff that should be better. Does a complaint and service record count as evidence for a condition? It shows that you complained about something, but you still need to have a current diagnosis, right? So that falls into one of 3 KS, where you have an in-service event or incident. I complained about a thing, I had a thing, today I still have the diagnosis. Now we're making the argument, so it counts. Not like what's gonna give you the whole argument. It's 1/3 of the argument. You still need the other 2/3, right? Current diagnosis and a nexus connecting those things. I don't know if you have any issues also finding that, but yeah, the link in my page has the has that. Let's see, I have everything and still got denied. 68% of the time the VA gets it wrong. So half of the game here, sadly, sometimes it's like, okay, we have everything we need to make the argument, but sometimes the VA just gets it wrong for many reasons. And even having everything is very subjective sometimes. Like I had one veteran who had migraines denied like 4 times, and on his 5th time he won. So it's just the system gets it wrong sometimes too. So that's where we have to fight. My buddy had shoulder surgery 3 times, and we both got 20%. My shoulder's not extreme like his, Jay. Oh, okay. How long ago was the surgery? Bum, 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 bum. All right, so Klaus was looking for the link for a Wednesday. We got folks hopefully looking for the BDD course, which will help them. Value creators. But yeah, let's see where we're at. All right, I think we're coming up on my time. Thanks for sharing the live, Jerry. Appreciate that. I love how it says like someone shared it. Like encourage more people to do that. Yeah, if it makes sense. I don't like people spamming people randomly just to be like, hey, go watch this. Like, if you know a veteran who could definitely benefit from the live, for sure, send it to them. Yeah, when you go to like my main like profile page, there's only like 1 link in there, and you'll be able to see it. If for whatever reason you don't, you know, have an issue, whatever, once the live is over, just like come back to this in the live tab, and then just like ask a question, and I can reply back with the link. Because for whatever reason it may be, apparently I can't type the link here. So that's crazy to me. Hi, I think you helped me with my claim when you worked. You're welcome. Yeah, many moons ago. I've moved on and have my own organization. So yeah, it's once upon a time. But I may have. Been around space for a little bit, so yeah, for sure. Where are you at with your process? Good to see you though. How have you been? Best place to get a nexus letter? I've asked private doctors, and some have said we don't do that. If you go down a few videos on here, I did a video with Tara. She's the lady that you'll see in one of my videos. She has her own organization, MRPY. I recommend her. Mike Romeo Papa Yankee. She's awesome. So there's who I'd recommend. Dun dun dun. Can you still tell me the name of, tell me the name? Oh, VNCC. On my page here, the link's in there for our website, but VeteransNetwork.club is the website. And you'll be able to see kind of all the stuff that we have there. But yeah, VNCC, VeteransNetwork.club is the website. VNCC just means Veterans Network Champions Club. I like the concept of creating a club of veterans networking together and champions because we win claims. We're amazing at what we do. So, you know, but yeah, that's my jam. And I think my link on my page, it's all kind of easier to navigate what we're doing. So like our CMP classes and things that we do, unlike where I used to be, I like options. So there's different things we have. So for like active duty people, create a course, they can do that. I teach classes, one-offs, they can do those things. One-on-one support, they want that, we do those things. So I like options. But yeah, check the link in my bio. Has a lot of cool stuff there. Also, the VA has a blacklist of providers. Is this list there's no such thing. It's not a thing. They can't do that. The probative value of medical evidence is just that. The VA cannot freaking find funding just to pay and keep things going. To sit there and have some massive blacklist is rumor mill. It's not a thing. You know, there are obviously providers whose name keeps coming up, but I can tell you that whoever, and I know where this is coming from. People who may be bigger in the space doing these things, I can name you 5 veterans of like at least in the last 30 days who've won their claims with letters of very high named individuals known in the space. So not a thing. Not a thing. They can't discriminate against that. The probative value of a thing is there. Medical evidence is medical evidence. So they can adjudicate and say all they want. If that goes to the board or you take it to a judge and like, hey, I was discriminated against because the doctor did a thing. First of all, here's a crazy concept. A lot of these providers who do these things, they also are CMP examiners. That's the first part. 2, the VA hires contractors to examine you. So what's the difference between you hiring somebody to examine you versus when the VA does it? You know what I'm saying? So like when you look at the merits of what it is, nah. But some letters from some providers just shit, which is a whole nother different thing. But as far as like a blacklist of like, oh, don't accept this. If that's the case, how do you let CMP examiners who berate and degrade veterans still work? Yet they still deny you because that piece of crap examiner, you know what I'm saying, did a horrible job. So that adjudicator's full of shit, sorry. Even people in the system don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Yes. Also is on YouTube. What's your take on the contractors VS does? So I think they're all equally good and equally bad, right? I think the VA as a whole it means well, but it's mismanaged, and we see that. There's great providers at the VA. There's shitty people at the VA, like anything else. You know, I've been to bad DMVs, I've been to good DMVs, I've been to bad Wendy's, I've been to good Wendy's. So VS, I've had exams at VS with no problem. Others have had good exams, others have had bad exams. So it really, you know, it really varies, you know what I'm saying, of the experience, right? There's bad apples everywhere, but I wouldn't demonize, you know, an entity. Because I know raters, I know examiners, I know psychologists, I know folks who do these things, good things rather, let me preface that, who work with the right of intentions for veterans. And I know others who should have never been hired. You know what I'm saying? So my take on a contractor is, when I teach my class, it's like, my focus is to make sure the veteran is ready to do his thing. So it's like a fight. I don't care about the opponent. I know that if we work on you being on your best game, you knowing the fundamentals of your claim, your argument, and how you're presenting yourself, even if it's a bad CMP exam, we report it. We have steps and things that we do. We appeal. We move around. So an obstacle doesn't stop us. It's like anything else. Army style, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, snap, there was no blockage here on the map, and there is now. So guess what? 2 options. We go around, we go over, or we blow the fuck through it. And I'm all for blowing through shit, so, you know, enter dark veteran humor. Some good info. I appreciate it, man. Look, we keep it real. I don't do a lot of fancy, you know, stuff. I think just helping people win and doing a thing for me means a lot. And again, if I was a douchebag back in when you first met me and I worked with you, you'd be like, dude, you're the douche who screwed and lied to me. You know what I mean? We play the long game. So, you know, just something to, for me at least, like, that's the whole point, right? Like, we can help people, we can show up, we can do things the right way. I don't do the, you know, we play a social media game, but the whole clickbaiting crap, making lies up to fearmonger people. These claims are going away, tonight is going away, sleep apnea is going away. It's not. It's just people trying to get you to click on stuff and subscribe to stuff and join their list. They can say some shit. And then they suck. Probably was. Probably was. Also, did you ever reach out at some point? Name rings a bell. Does that make sense, Ramatak? Again, not, you know, I mean, like, please don't take my, you know, dark humor here personal, right? Because they're valid questions, right? You know what I mean? Are people blacklisted? Valid question. Is VES bad? Should I go somewhere else? Valid questions. But again, it could be QTC or LHI, whoever else comes up new now. They're all contractors. And sadly, they got good ones and sometimes not so good ones. Alrighty, let's do a quick 5-minute warning. If we have any questions, let us begin wrapping it up. So let's get these in. I do my BDD in 2 weeks. What does that mean? Do you start in 2 weeks or do you have to finish it all? Because I do have a course for BDD, which I think is a cat's pajamas, if you ask me. But there's a lot of, I have a whole course for it, so there's a lot to unpack there. Did find it. Thank you. Check. Oh, that's my one. So your 180 window starts. Q. Just to make sure, because I want to, you know, direct you one way and then be like, oh crap, that was a whole waste. Oh yeah, yeah. So I would highly encourage you, first and foremost, check out the link in my page bio here. There's a link to the course. It's called Navigating BDD Claims. It's online. It's self-paced. Different modules. It has a checklist, a BDD checklist that kind of starts a process. So it kind of walks you through, like, you know, from soup to nuts, the entire process. I cover different topics in there, from what are VA claims, et cetera, CMPs and things like that. But you have time. So you have all this time to start the process of getting yourself seen, starting putting things together. You go through the course at your own pace, because I can lose you literally in about 5 minutes, just talk about some high level stuff. And you'll be like, what am I supposed to do now? So because you have time, I like the course because it gives you the ability to kind of go through it at your own pace, but start working towards things, right? So there's a checklist in there. Link in my bio has that, BDD checklist. And you have the ability to go through that, start collecting your documents, starting to get seen, starting to formulate, how am I gonna argue something? And I cover things like high value claims, things that such. How do you start putting yourself together? And the videos and the resources are there. I have samples, tinnitus samples, GERD samples, personal statement samples, links where to go to get stuff, CFR links and things like that. So there's a lot of resources there. And I think it'll be very helpful for you, right? Because again, you're just starting to come into that window versus someone who's like, oh crap, I'm already done. Well, we're past that now, right? Now we got to go adjust to the next stage. So that's what I would suggest, because it is a lot, and more so I want you to absorb and be ready, right? Because I can tell you 20 things right now, and in 180 days, they'll be like, what did he say again? So that's what I would say, right? We want to kind of start really crawl, walk, running into this. And then when you get to a point where you're ready to use, you can go to the VSO because they'll help do all the filing things there for sure, but you could definitely do on your own if you're kind of a self-starter. The course will kind of gauge you some of that, because you have the ability to kind of be like, okay, this makes sense, I'm good. Come to like one of our classes for like CMP prep. Don't do that now. You can, but more so as you get closer towards, you know, that time. Like right now, it's starting to get seen, starting to do things for sure. That'll really, really help. So that's what I would say for you, Q. That would be very helpful, for sure. And too easy. I'll check it out. Thank you for your help. You're very welcome. Let me know if you have any issues. In the course, it has a chat feature, so you can send messages and all that stuff there. So that's another quick way too to kind of get some comms going with me and my team. But let me know if you have any issues. Kind of going through all that. Let's see. Contractors. Yes, it makes sense. That's about VES because they sat on my imaging for 3 months before they even sent it. over to the VA. Oh, and that's sadly a thing across. So QTC does this, VES does this. It's a thing, sadly, of them sitting on stuff to send it back. And sometimes stuff doesn't get back. Like another veteran just asked. They have to go do a whole nother CMP because they did the exam and put everything on the wrong form. So the VA is like, no, gotta do it again. What's the CMP for? Thanks for your tips and tricks, videos. I got 100% PT. Dark, wicked world. That's what I'm talking about. For the win. Again, there's different ways to do a thing. You know what I mean? And I mean it. Like I said, I'm very transparent about this. Again, if videos and content is enough for you to be successful and do a thing, say less. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hit you with the link in bio every 5 seconds. Like the content is that damn good that you could win just watching this shit. You got a deep dive and gonna go through a lot of stuff there, but hey. But a class is available. Showing up to things are available. Again, I like options. So it's really good to hear that was helpful for you in your process, for sure. So I like it. Let's see. Went to your page and seen Amy. She got me. Is she on your team? I want to tell others. Yeah. So when you go to my About Us, that's my entire team there. Yeah, so Amy is on my team. So, yeah, so you go way back. So if you was with us way back when, yeah, so Amy's with me and other folks you see there. I might bring on some more people here in the near future. But the About page is the crew. So if you have some folks and you want to send them over Amy's way, you literally click on her little link there, and it'll give you like her dedicated link page, and you can kind of send that to them with her page, and they can, you know, be assigned to her. So I like it because like if you go to the main page, you can do an assessment call, but you can go to the About Us page and pick your poison, right? And I mean that because I like I do a lot of analogies because I teach, but I like options. That's always gonna be my thing. So like Baskin Robbins, right? Pick your flavor. I want to work with Amy, or I want to work with so-and-so, or I want to work with so-and-so. Other organizations like we're veterans, all the veterans, and who don't know who the fuck you're talking about, who are you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to work with this dude. Why? Because he's like me. So for me, that means something, right? Especially like, you know, our veterans, you know, rated for MST themselves. If I read that and I'm a veteran with MST, I may want to work with that person because I have to go someplace that I don't feel comfortable talking to anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, just preference. I like having those kind of options, so that's why I kind of set it up that way. So, oh, that's a little cool heart situation there. That's dope. Hey, I'll tell you, I'll be seeing stuff that pops up on these lives sometimes, just throws me off. Like a little heart emoji there. Cool with the little heart emoji. I love it. What's up, Turn Dash? Hop and Serve was amazing for me. Examiner read all the records, gave me a claim. Da, 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 da. Army says I have 2 claims. All 4. Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. I like it. I like it. So the whole point is if you go to my website, veteransnetwork.club, you can see the About Us page, and you can see my team. So for some people, it's like, you know, the person had commented, had worked with us, you know, some years ago, and then I started my own organization, and I have my team that I brought with me. So they worked with rather Amy, and the fact that you can go to my website and see the About Us page, and you actually see who we are. Like, I always love when people are like, hey, what do you think of this organization? First thing I do is go to About Us or contact us. Because sometimes you don't even have the About Us. And then you go there and there's a whole lot of copy, paste, goobly glop, and stock image photos. And it's like, all right, who are you guys? You know what I mean? Or some people on here talking about, we have 50 people working for me. And who are these people? Crickets. CMP tomorrow. For what, Samantha? Do you help with appeals? Only both, everything, all fair game. We advise. We don't represent you, but we advise and have different things there. So it depends what you got going on. Maybe you don't even need us. So keep it real. Give you perspective. Alrighty. All right, so we're on Samantha with the last question there as we wrap it up. I think we're good on my steps for the day. So I made up the steps for yesterday and I got myself a buffer for tomorrow because it's past midnight. So a win is a win. I'm ready ahead of the game for the next day. But as we wrap, again, Wednesday night, we are doing Ace Your CMP. Yours truly will be teaching that. I always miss your live. Daggone it! Hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live. I've literally been on here for about 2 hours now. How long? An hour and a half. Actually, let me see how long I've been on here for now. Yeah, an hour 20, well, an hour and a half. But Wednesday, we're doing Ace Your CMP. I'll be teaching that live. Link to that is in my bio. Jeanette, do you have something coming up with your process, your claims? It's out like Donkey Kong. Oh, okay. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even those things sometimes I'm like, it's supposed to like alert, right? But sometimes it don't. So, egg in my face. But what do you have coming up? You have anything coming up? You can't get anything to work. And look, that story of my life. But talk to me. Do you have it? What you got? What do you have going on? Bum bum bum. But as she types that, Wednesday, Ace Your CMP is going down at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Link for that is in my bio. And then we are talking good CMPs, bad CMPs, things to do, what to expect, things that such. So that'll be a huge part there. And then for those transitioning, check out my BDD course. I also have a newsletter, comes out every 2 weeks. So if you are not on that, link in my bio will take you there. Short reads, quick information. I forget the topic that we outlined for this next one that should be going out here today, tomorrow, records and things like that. But every time we kind of switch it up with different things. So something for you to check out. Promise we don't spam you or sell your information to anybody because I don't like needless emails. VA never processing anything. Did you file for something? CMP coming up? What's up with that? Prophetess is in the building. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate you for the support. Appreciate you. But those are the admin notes. Class, online class, and our newsletter. Check those things. If you're not following me on YouTube, same username, VeteranDP. Start doing some more stuff on that side too. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Because Lord knows what platform remains and goes, all the proposed changes of social media. But yeah, Janet, let me know. What do you have coming up? What is going on? Give me the skinny. Just don't know where to start anymore. They have everything in limbo. So you filed for something and you're still waiting, correct? Thanks for the like, Prophetess. Hubby had cancer for 12 years. Okay. I recall. I want to say. Okay, I remember now. Did you get any traction with that other person? I think someone had reached out about their situation. Okay, I think we're good there. That's good. I remember that. Have you done anything since then? Shoot me an email, Janet, so I could try to. I remember you had commented that somebody said something about sending me a message or something like that. But shoot me an email. That should be on my page as well to try to at least see if we can connect with somehow, somewhere. I do recall your case situation with his passing and then that not being recognized and you're not getting some things because that wasn't in the system. So I recall. Yeah. And that's why sometimes sometimes folks have the best of intentions and things sound nice. And then, nothing really comes of it or whatnot. But Yeah, shoot me an email to at least try to get some more context. Again, can't promise a thing or say which way or the other, but at least to be able to, you know, point in the right direction and actually, you know, do all that stuff. I do recall, in your case, you know, my condolences to you. I do recall that conversation. Like, there's some things, again, sometimes I don't understand how things stand out to me, but certain things do stand out. So I do recall that conversation. And you had asked about that, his passing, the marriage situation, the marriage certificate not being the record. So then all the things that came after that. So I recall some certain things just stick out to me. That's one of them. So yeah, shoot me one. At the minimum, we'll try to, you know, point you in some direction or kind of see what's going on. Again, maybe sometimes maybe perspective. Sometimes some things just take a while. It is what it is. But at least some, you know, some sounding board of sorts comes in handy. So um, yeah, yeah. So I'll be on the lookout for that. But once it comes in, that email we have there will go to the crew, so we'll all see it. Child to File for PAC Act. Yeah. One thing, side note, one thing I don't understand is like people who comment stuff and it will tell you like it's always trying to push you to do things. And I know and I get it, but it's just like, you know, so and so hasn't sent to like or has joined your team. I'm like, I don't know what that even means. What does join your team means? What is that? They join your team. I don't even know. Um, but let's see, Brandon on the tube side of the house. I want to tell others about a good, reputable place to go for VA claims help. Right here. This is the Spizzy. The spot to go is us. Because again, even here at the Insomnia Hour, I used to call it, I used to actually call that, that's what I called it back in the day when I go stream late at night, insomnia claims. And then people start thinking we're talking insomnia. I'm like, no, I'm just saying we have insomnia and we're talking about claims. Well, let's see, watching you help me went from not rated to 70. Thank you for what you do, George. Awesome, George. What was helpful for you? Did you ever take a class or just watch the videos? Always curious to know that. But watching you helped went from 0 to 70. That's not, it's not many people, you know, not one to toot horns or anything, but that's the goal, right? The goal is to try to create content that if that's all you need and that helps you do something, great. And for someone else, maybe a class, and for somebody else, maybe some more help, right? Again, meeting our veterans where they're at, that's the biggest thing. You watch your videos, told your truth. That's it. And there's certain things I know when someone has watched some stuff. Like I've started adding like one-on-one calls uh, on my link in bio stuff. Again, not for everyone, so I'm not trying to push that, but rather it is there. So, you know, if somebody want to have a one-on-one with me, I have opened my calendar up for that. So, you know, whatever is your vice, whatever you want to talk about, if it's claims or CMP, whatever that thing may be, that's there. Um, but I'm saying that so because what's interesting to me is that I had one call, one vet, and he had gone through all my stuff. So he's sitting there regurgitating back to me, and that by far is like the weirdest thing, you know, for me, right? Because I'm hearing like literally like, oh, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like you're paying attention or you're saying stuff. So like you're told your truth, you do your thing, because I'm always hammering that, telling your truth, it matters, it's enough, etc. So that was kind of, you know, it's always kind of like cool, right? To have moments like that where the things you're doing, you see it kind of come back and people, you know, it helped them. So it shows us we're on the right path because that's the whole, you know, piece there. Um, so they have, again, depending on when he passed, there are things that can happen posthumous, you know, from them passing and so forth. So there's a few different ways to look into that. So I think that's, again, worth a conversation just to kind of see that, just to outright tell you to kick rocks. You know what I mean? Again, there are individuals who do pass and claims can be filed within a certain time frame after someone does pass. So there are options and ways. It's just a little more delicate when it comes to that there. So not so much kick rocks, but also finding out like what is going on. Sometimes, sadly, there are instances where some of these reps don't know what they don't know and they just let time lapse and people lose a window. And I've sadly had those conversations. We've had those conversations with widows who had a time frame to do something and they missed it because someone didn't know a thing, right? How do you go about getting a one-on-one with you to ask questions? I just jumped in and missed it. So I was saying, you know, a few different ways. I've added one-on-one sessions on my calendar. So if that's something you want to do, you will see that on my link in bio for one-on-one sessions that I do provide. Again, My schedule's kind of limited, so those dates fill up pretty quickly. So that's something to consider for those that want that, and that can be an hour for whatever, 60 minutes for whatever it is you may need, right? If it's Q&A, conversations, etc., CMP prep, you have my undivided attention for that time frame. So that's an option for some folks. Conversely, there's class Wednesday night, which is CMP. So I like the class dynamics because even being a fly on the wall, you'd be surprised there are some things others may ask that trigger something in you, or it goes like, I didn't even think about that, right? And then next Wednesday, I'm doing navigating VA claims, which is our basics class that I teach. So every Wednesday I teach a class. This week is CMP, next week is basics. So check the link in my bio, see what works for you, for sure. You also have the ability to book a call with one of my advisors. Those calls are free, so you can check those out there as well. But options. I like options. So check those things out. But those are some of the main things that we have going on this week there. But check on Janet. Check cool for George. On the tube side of the house, let's see. Anything y'all may have, let me know. Let me see if actually I move from here. Let us, let's waltz over here so we can go ahead and have a seat after walking around all this daggone time. So, plum 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 plum. Oi, Dios mío. There we go. Let's see. All right, that works. Make sure that's an angle there. Okay, that works. But great success. Let's see, what did we do there? Not too shabby. Little 8,000 step action there, so I'll take it. We're shooting for 2, but we got a buffer for the next day. I understand. I understand. I understand. So I still would have him had they process paperwork, get the ball rolling. And that's the part that really just is the hard part about this entire process, right? It's that some folks, they don't finish the process, they don't finish their claims, they sadly, their disability sometimes do us in, and it just changed the entire perspective, right? Again, why did the system delay a thing, postpone a thing, all the valid points and all that? So I can't even imagine that whole feeling. Like I can be empathetic towards it, and I've seen it because again I've worked with many widows and have had to go through that whole process with them. So it sucks. That's the best way I can, explain that, right? Like you're just, to your point, right? You're lost in that whole process of like, now what the F do I do here, right? Like, because you lose your anchoring, right? Like you have your anchor and your anchor's gone now. So how do you reorientate yourself? Especially in this process that was a him process. And now you're trying to, pick up the pieces of whatever is left. And then you go for help and they tell you things like, go kick rocks. You can't do a thing. Like, Jesus Christ, can you at least try to do something? Like, it's got to be, something, And again, there may be instances where there may not be an option for certain things, but at least give me the, courtesy of just not, for all intents and purposes, making me feel like you're kicking me out of the office, for crying out loud, because it's not an easy, process. That's infuriating to me, right? It doesn't cost anything to give a shit, right? It doesn't cost anything to have some empathy, right? I'd rather have a conversation and it's like, look, this is what's available, this is what can happen, or outright, like, I don't see a play here, but at least give that person closure to know that we've exhausted means. and looked at a thing. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't even, and yes, humor, but not even humor, but just, be empathetic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't sit there and, you lose someone in service and go to, like, their widow and be like, here's a flag and chuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's supposed to be a certain level of dignity to the things that we do, right? And I think sometimes, sadly, that gets lost with people who just go through a process, right? It's more than just benefits; it's principle, right? Your significant other passed, for the reasons he passed and things there, and there's an argument to be made for conditions he may have incurred in service, whatever the case may be. There's a process for that, yes. However, there should be some dignity in, having that respect and having that care, right? Because again, he served, but you don't just leave a battle buddy behind. You know what I mean? The mission statement of the VA, it's nice that they put it on slab and they put it out there and they've updated it to be more woke now. But it's to care for those that born the battle, the wounds of battle, et cetera, and as well for those to care for their widows and children should they pass. That's in there, right? So the point ahead is not just the veteran. In the mission statement, it speaks about to care for their widow and so forth. That's why we have DEA benefits and so forth, right? There are things in place for that. You know what I mean? That's why the flag is presented to the family member. Like there is a process for these things, and sadly, that just gets lost on some people, right? Because they're just going through a whole thing. Start a podcast. It's come up a few times. I think I might. I'm looking into it. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, yeah. Good point. Would you tune in? That's the question. Would you tune in to that podcast? Um, the veteran space is very weird and very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's like everybody wants some high speed, low drag thing of a thing, and you know, I'm not no Navy SEAL dude. I'm just a dude, pushing out empathy and trying to help veterans solve a problem in a very unique way. So, you know, as long as we get one listener or two listeners, then we have a podcast, right? Little by little. I'm good with starting small. And arguably I like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just get lost in the sauce when they just get too big for their bridges. His Air Force buddies were so supportive. What branch he was so all right. He was Air Force. What years was he in? What years did he serve? Was he rated? What was his rating? On the tube side of the house, I'm kind of going back and forth. So TikTok here, YouTube there, a little multitasking action going on. So chatting with some of our vets across the board, and in this case now, a widow whose husband passed. So what was his name? Alpha One. What was your husband's name, Janet? I like the little thingamajiggy there. Actually, pretty dope. Little chat emojis. Those are dope. Let's see. Wait on Janet to come back. A1. What is A1? He was at Mount Home Air Force Base. Charles. Salute to Charles, our fallen Air Force brother. Stationed at Mount Home Air Force Base. Let me see. looking at your profile picture there. Nice little Under Armour hat there. Rocking a sweet goatee in that picture there, I see. I was just checking to see if Charles was trying to rock a beard like me too. I don't like competition. Sweet goatee though. 389 Fighter Squadron. Nice. I can tell. I can see by the pictures there for sure. Debonair. You got you a good one there. You got you a good one. Charles. Mm, mm, mm. How long was he in? He was only 52. Young. Very young. Mm. 4. Check. Back in the Gulf time frame. What time frame was he in? Operation providing comfort. Check. What years was he in for that? It's hard to keep track when one starts and one ends with all these various time frames. Was in Turkey. Turkey's nice. I've been to Turkey. I've been to Turkey. I like Jordan. Jordan, Amman is nice. Went to Petra. That's a nice place. 93, 97. Check. Yeah, Turkey's nice. Good food. Good food. If you're into that kind of stuff. But yeah. And thank you for sharing some of that. It's always, like I said, I like knowing different things like that. I think it's good, right? Especially when we look at some of our, fallen brothers and sisters, right? I'm big on that, right? Like we have to keep that memory, right? We have to say their names. We have to ask about their service. It's good to know these things, right? Charles is an airman, was in that squadron, stationed here, deployed there, was in Turkey. I think that means something, right? Because it's one of those things of like, those are the things that matter, to us, you know, regardless of all the things that we may, riff raff with each other, right? We always razz each other, you know what I'm saying? We always give each other crap because, you're Air Force, you're Air Force, you're Crayon Eater, you're this, you're that. But it's like feuding cousins, you know what I mean? Like, we can talk crap about each other, but when it's all said and done, nobody's gonna talk shit about our people, right? So, yeah. 95, patrolling the no-fly zone in Iraq. Check. Okay. Check. E4. Okay, got it. Because you're the A1. Check. Okay. But and was he rated at all before he passed, or was he starting a process um, that wasn't finished before he passed? Yikes. Ooh, that's a damning thing. Sometimes there are some individuals in the space that do some pretty shady things. And the internet is merciless. I'm telling you, man, you will get destroyed on comments and on social. Uh, this is not, this ain't your mama's and your grandpappy's military post-service thing, man. Nowadays people keep receipts and bring up stuff, and eesh. They did it in 2012, took it from him, and then they said, sorry, messed up. We applied with the PAC Act. Okay, got it, got it. Mm. And when they pass? When they pass away? Because he started the process for the PAC Act. It took back the 2012 rating for whatever reason, whatever reason that they did that. October 1. So this just, Jesus. Of like 7 days ago? Oh my Lord. Mm. Well, I am genuinely very sorry. My condolences. Like I said, I know I saw the conversation and it stood out, but sometimes context, right? How long ago? What are we talking about, etc. So this just literally just all happening, and I cannot imagine how sadly triggering all this stuff is. I thank you for hanging out on this live and sharing Charles's story and some particulars of him, because Lord knows this stuff could be triggering as hell, right? He passes as you're all trying to get these benefits for him, and all the stuff here is damn near, as triggering as it gets because it's all claim conversation, right? And people are asking questions with perspective. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part I don't think people get sometimes. I understand people are trying to file claims. I get the things. I understand the things. But, when I have a veteran who's 95 years old and is filing his first claim, why did we get there? Why did it take so long, right? You have individuals like, Janet's Charles in this case, who passes away in the process of trying to get his benefits. It just gives you perspective, right, as to the bigger picture of things. You know what I mean? Like, I get some folks think like, hey, am I too late, too early and stuff? And they have the chance to do a thing. Sadly, we do have veterans that, the clock stops. It's to the end of the road. And this happens. And then you have literally their widow on a daggone live, tuning in and just trying to get perspective and trying to get some support. People say nice things, but then where's the follow through? And again, the decency of having a conversation. Again, 7 days removed. You know what I'm saying? Lord Almighty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even wrap my head around that. But I would send you a virtual hug, because there's just, there's just no words, right? Some things just need not be said. But I want to, just kind of say that, right? Because it's more than a claim, right? It's a principle. And for you, again, 7 days ago, your husband passes. Like, it's just one of those things of, I quit working to take care of him. So you quit working to take care of him, and he passes. And in these past 7 days, well, before that, because obviously you've been going through this whole process, but you're still fighting. You know what I mean? So you're not alone, is what I would tell you. I know it's difficult, this process, because obviously I do this. But having support goes a long way. And sadly, it breaks my heart that you try to reach out for help. And even in the wake of his passing, it's almost like you felt like you literally, kick rocks, get out of here. There's nothing we can do for you. No, hold the fuck up on. There definitely got to be something that can be explored, not just outright, slam a door in my face. You know what I mean? So again, the tact of these individuals, to me, it's just, I have no excuse for it. Again, I'm very tongue in cheek when I talk about these things on social media, and on purpose, right? Because we have to generate conversation. But I don't care who you go to help, but at least let them fucking help. Let them fucking be there. If it's a VSO and they don't charge and they're free, then fucking be there. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, someone's paying the bill. And more importantly, a veteran has paid with their service and their body and their mind to be able to file for something, and they deserve that dignity to do that thing. And should they pass and their widows in turn are asking for support, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where I can't wrap my head around just how infuriating that is to me because of the things I see right at this base and this level and this stage. Um, but yeah, send me an email because I definitely would love to have a conversation. Um, you know, and get at least try to connect you with some folks there because I know we have some folks on my crew who are VSOs and have done different things and have gone through this different, supporting folks in different ways. So, but again, just at least support, just at least having to talk to someone. Again, if we walk into a dead end, at the minimum, we walk to the dead end together, not just get out of here, right? Skedaddle. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'll tell you what, man. Look, you know, again, it doesn't, it's not very useful to you per se in this essence, but like when we teach classes, well, like one of my advisors, someone asked from where we came from, she's Air Force, and we always give her shit. I give her shit because I'm Army, right? And every time she comes in, we do. Well, I teach my classes. We do our Q&A. My team comes in. They'll kind of give perspective on answers because I like in my classes to have my team come into because sometimes one of my teammates might be able to say something and it may click for you when they say it, and if that clicks, then what I'm saying, then that's the whole point, right? It's about you, not me or my ego. No. Um, but every time she comes in, she says something or whatever the case may be, she always goes in there with the Air Force. Air Force is the best. It's like her freaking catch line. I'm just like, sweet Jesus, you're aggravating my acid reflux. Ugh, I'm getting freaking agita here. You know what I'm saying? And we'll rip and we'll do all that stuff because again, what I mean, this is one of those things that it's an inter-service type of thing. But that's her thing every single effing time without fail. Air Force is the best, and I'm like shit. And just when I think she won't say it either, she fucking says it, and that's what kills me. It's like she'll jump in, she'll give perspective, she'll answer questions, she'll say her thing, she'll say hello, whatever it may be, and she gets off the mic, and I'm like, whoo, and she comes right back on. Air Force is the best. I'm like, shit. I thought I always got away from it. So that's a little aside there, but yeah. hmm but yeah, no, I appreciate you for sure. Sharing some of that for context and information because it matters, and yeah. But we'll see what what ways, what things can be put into place. But like I said, I know some folks that they missed the window. Like we're talking years removed, and it's like crap. Something was actively being pursued. The veteran passes in the process. There are ways to continue a thing. So to just outright not even try to explore if those options are available and meets criteria, what I mean, it just takes a few minutes. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Thank you for listening. No, thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to me over here blabbing. I'm over here freaking just going off the rails. Just blabbing about all kinds of stuff here. So, thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing. More importantly, right? And telling us about Charles because again, it's one of those things I think matters for sure. So, let me see. I got those particulars. So here's a question actually that I'm curious to know. So, what was one of Charles's what's his hobby? What was his thing? What was Charles's thing? Like if we were rewind the clock, right? It's 4th of July week and whatever case may be. What's like the go-to thing that Charles is doing his stuff hunting? So now, is he a hunter that likes to catch and cook and stuff? Was like, what's his game? Is he like hanging some? Oh, he's bow hunting. Oh, so he's over here doing some Avengers shit and whatnot. Okay, so we're getting real technical now. So he's over here bow hunting. Was he good on the grill though? Because did he catch some stuff and actually cook it too? Like, was he like a full blown hunter? Like he was hunting and actually grilling and cooking and doing the whole thing, or was he hanging stuff up? Taught me how to bow hunt. Okay, so you're dangerous too. So we got two, we got the team effort going on there. Okay, okay. He went all out. All right then. What's the weirdest thing that he? So did he actually cook stuff that he caught too? Like did you like do a deer or something like that? Like what was it? Some of the stuff that he would catch? process his own food. Oh, so my Charles was just a lumberjack kind of dude. He was out there just doing the thing. Are you sure he was in the Air Force? He started to sound more and more like a Marine to me. Goodness gracious. That's awesome, though. What's the weirdest thing, though, that he made? Because there's got to be something weird. Like, did they ever catch a possum and try to do something weird where it's just like, ain't no way in hell I'm eating this? Elk I've had, deer I've had, hog I haven't. Not wild hog at least. But what's the weirdest thing that you were just like, absolutely not? Because I know some of these hunters that are all in, they're just like, okay, I can deal with the elk, I can deal with the bison, I can deal with this, but this right here, there's no way in hell you're going to have me eat this shit. Snake, raccoon. Yep, nope, you lost me at snake. There's a few things. Look, I've seen Indiana Jones and all this stuff. There's a few things that I would not be interested in partaking. Snake being one of them. The raccoon, I just can't not unsee a raccoon. Like, there's certain things like a deer, elk, etc. But that damn raccoon was little evil demonic eyes, and I just can't. And then the snake part, ugh. Like, what does that taste like? Gamey chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody thinks always like related to chicken, right? How does that taste? It tastes like chicken, rubbery chicken, this type of chicken, chicken. Nope. Nope. His little sad eye. Exactly. Like, he's sitting there like with little, sad dead raccoon eyes. Like, I don't, nah. Take that somewhere else there, nature man. Nah. Nah. Everything else was fine. That's where it lost me. And those are my go-to right there off the bat. Snake. Oh, it tastes good. It's just scrumptious. I can afford to skip a few meals. Now we're good. That's a negative. That's a negative. Nah, forget that noise. But I'm glad you got to experience that and he taught you, to bow hunt and do all that stuff. So that's cool. That is cool. Charles sounded like a pretty cool, through and through, to your point, American Air Force dude. I'm sure that he's definitely one of these vets that you'd love to have a beer with or beverage of sorts, because again, people have their preferences. And definitely would have irked the shit out of me with his Air Force chatter and all that noise. So, in all loving, respectful memory, I would have given him a whole lot of shit. Like, crap. Nobody wants to hear this stuff. I don't hear about your Air Force. PBR. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing him with us. It matters. It matters. He sounds old school. If you was out there eating raccoon and snake, for crying out loud, trust me, these young kids today will not be eating no daggone raccoon and snake, let alone bow hunting. Now they'll BB gun their ass or try to do a flamethrower, but bow hunting? Nah, nah. That's some old school stuff there. He's out there with shooting azimuths and using land nav techniques with old maps and everything. That's cool though. That is cool. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing some of that with us. Those are things that matter, right? That gives context. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're more than a rank and a job and a service, right? We're people, right? He was an airman. He served. He did things. He hunted. He did all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? As we can see, obviously here. That's where I drew the line. Man, look, I drew the line too. You lost me with all that extra nature stuff. You take that stuff with Bear Grylls, with Survivor, and whatever that damn show was called. Nope. There's a limit to the things I would deal with. But yeah, I'm sure he could. I'm sure he could. I'll tell you what now. I'm not very smart. I just know what I'm not good at, and I stay in my lane. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, that is a lane I want no part of. Nah, forget that noise. But that's amazing though.
more power to him. But we're talking about Charles, Janet's husband, who passed about 7 days ago. And yeah, a good airman and apparently an even better hunter, bow hunting at that. A man's man, you would say. I think of like Ralph Cramden now and like the Honeymooners and like when they're part of the lodge and they have like little raccoon hat and all that kind of stuff. Like that's in my mind what I see. I see him like with little raccoon hat. I'm not saying he had that type of thing, right? But hearing like all the stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, I can't help but think like the Ralph Cramden, Honeymooners, or being part of the lodge and whatnot with the whole handshake and everything. And he has like little raccoon hat with the tail, and it's just like, what in the shit are you wearing? Like, I got one for you too. The fuck you did not. Don't bring that around me. You just ate his guts out. Now you want me to wear this little hat with his little tail? No. uh, Man, the honeymooners. That little flashback there. Start aging ourselves now. Yes. To the moon, Alice. To the moon. But that's cool though. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're talking a little bit about Charles. So yeah, I like it. I'm laughing right now, and I'm just hearing about it through you. So, but those are the good things, though, right? Like that's the part you have to hold on to, right? That those laughing moments, that memory that you were able to share with him, right? Because it's perspective too, right? And all of this is so raw and whatever. So I don't do the whole platitudes and motivational shits or none of that crap. But I think for sure it's about in this case, what he meant to you, right? Those laughs that you shared, right? Those moments that you got to experience. I think that means so much, right? Because that's what lingers. That's what remains. Like right now, even those stories of the things he did, can make me laugh and make somebody else laugh. And the fact that, even after he's passed, just talking about one of our own and the things that he loved to do and the things that, we would have laughed in person, they still are making us laugh today, right? And they still bring a smile and create that memory of those moments, right? And that's powerful. And I think those are things to hold on to for moments like this, right? Especially with all this being so raw and recent, etc. So it's going to be a process for sure. There's no book on these things, there are, but you know what I mean, right? Um, but yeah, about what specifically do you need someone to talk to you about, Mr. 787? What is going on? And be careful too, because you don't want just anybody messaging you. Be surprised. Some people you do not want to be the one to try to talk to you. Be careful, because some folks are crazy. All right. Welcome to the conversation. We're talking to Janet, whose husband just passed away 7 days ago. So this is a circle of depression. Welcome. You are among like-minded individuals who understand in a few different ways for different reasons. Right? Not one diminishes the other. Not one is worse than the other. I don't believe that. I believe, especially when we're talking about these different things, there's so much, you know, to really factor. But depression is real for sure. And I commend you and respect you for even reaching out and saying that, because that's hard for sometimes for people to do, right? To even say, I'm not in a good place. I'm not feeling well, and I'm not dealing with something very good, right? So, you know, hello. Claim for PTSD denied. Submitted for a high level review. What should I expect? Been in this for over a year. A high level review, they're just going to review whatever's in there. And if they find that there is a reason to overturn the decision, they'll do so. But if what was provided or was submitted is not enough for it to be awarded, you're going to have to go a supplemental claim potentially. Again, without knowing any details of what you submitted, what you did, what you got, that's very surface level response. So a high level review is just going to have somebody else take a look at what you provided, and if something is missing, you may have to come back with a supplemental, right? If they miss something, the higher level review will hopefully be able to address that, and they can potentially award it in your favor. The fact it's been about a year now. Again, that's just very subjective. Sadly, the VA claim process takes a while. So, yeah, it's a thing, for sure. 787. Is that a Puerto Rican flag? You're welcome. Thank you. No, um, thank you for letting me cry for a minute. Thank you for letting us be with you for a minute. That's the first part. Thank you for letting us laugh at some of the memories that you and Charles shared and who he was as a person. So thank you for sharing his joy with us that you were able to be a part of. So yeah, thank you and you're welcome. Yeah. Um, 787 is the area code. Okay. I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm Dominican, but I assume this much. But you know, the things look so small on my side because I have it on like this view mode to be able to read the comments and stuff. So it's sometimes um, you know, weird to look at stuff. And then I had a dude in class like a week ago, and his username was Doctor So and So, and I'm like, what kind of doctor are you? And his little screen name and everything was doctor. His picture said Doctor So and So, and he was not a doctor. I'm like, what the shit? People be peopling. Let's see. I have a mental health exam in the morning. Any tips? Little dreads. I would say honestly, when it comes to mental health, there's a lot to unpack. You can go down the rabbit hole of my CMP checklist, my CMP playlist that I have, and videos that I have. But I would say the biggest thing is having a present tense conversation about your disabilities today. That's the biggest thing I would suggest. A lot of people sometimes get lost into the minutia of what happened, and they don't talk about what's happening. So I would suggest to you, since you can't make it to class on Wednesday night when I'm teaching Smart Ace Your CMP class, by the way, if you have a CMP coming up, Wednesday night, I am teaching Ace Your CMP class. Links in my bio. But I would say that one of the biggest things is present tense. A lot of veterans walk into these exams talking about the past, what happened to them, what they experienced, what they did, all the dids, all the past, all the things. And they don't talk about what's happening right now, right? So we're talking about what are your current situations, things you're dealing with currently. What are your current impairments, right? So it's 10% the past, 90% the present. That's how we have to talk, right? What are the symptoms to the mental health conditions you're presenting? Again, whether it's PTSD, anxiety, depression, whatever, speaking to those symptoms and being able to speak to how they affect you today. So I would suggest that, right? Speak about it in like it's removed from you, right? So you're not depressed, you're dealing with depression. This depression has caused me these issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So things to consider. Good night, Janet. Appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. We'll be talking. But that's what I would say there, little dreads. For you. Dun 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 dun. 787. Alaman, what's going on, brother? You're welcome. Hopefully that helps. Is that the only thing you have that you filed for recently? Is this your first time filing a mental health claim, or are you going for an increase, or are you appealing of denial? Let's see. On the YouTube side, we're gonna cut it because this battery is gonna die. So there's that fun there. So I'm gonna cut this one as the batteries come to an end. But be back on the next one. Appreciate y'all. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun.